Good day, everyone. Again, I'm Paul Lawrence Vann, and I host the YouTube podcast, Leadership is Influence. I hope that you're doing great today and you've listened to some of the other episodes that have been provided on this platform. And thank you so much for supporting this particular podcast channel. And just to give you a little bit more background about me, I primarily have a background in leadership. It is my strength. I served over 20 years in the United States Air Force as a military officer, but I've been a leader my entire life, just as you have. And people ask, well, I don't have the title of leader in my job description. That's the point. You don't have to have the word leadership in there, such as CEO, president, executive vice president, because you have a life to lead. And guess what? If you don't lead it, your life will lead you. So we're all leaders, albeit we have different levels of leadership. But when you're on a job and you're employed by someone or you're an entrepreneur, you are a leader. But what I want to talk about today is talking about developing other leaders through coaching. And one of the reasons why is because it's very important that we all understand the importance of coaching. In fact, when it comes to coaching and people on a job, they state that more than 60% of employees who report managers who are not good coaches are thinking about quitting. We all know that the greatest challenges today is talent management and being able to retain it. And the reason why is because it costs so much to hire, employ, and train a new employee. So it behooves one in the organization leadership to hold on to their top talent. And that's the greatest challenge of today, post pandemic, because it's so competitive now. And employees really have the upper hand when it comes to how they want to work, who they want to work with, and also they like the hybrid aspect of working physically in the office some parts of the week, maybe 3 or 4 days, and then the rest of the time they work from home. So it's the new reality brought on by the pandemic. So I want to get into it a little bit in terms of just sharing what this is all about. And this happens to be one of the particular sections that I coach as part of my leadership development workshops. And what it is that effective coaching is an essential skill all leaders need to embrace and strengthen. And coaching helps employees to develop skills, improve confidence, and up-level thinking. And so when we look from that particular dynamic, we all receive some coaching in some form or another. It's totally different than sports because that's just a entertainment. But when it gets down to the job, if a person, let's say, is produced on a television show, or they are an accountant, or they are a doctor, when we look at that, or they work at UPS like I used to, it's a different dynamic in terms of the coaching, but the same impact can take place because, again, we mentioned you want to always develop the skills. We want to improve that confidence and then up level the thinking. In other words, we want people to operate from a position of really excellence. That's really the word that comes to mind. So we want that to happen. And it can also motivate employees to perform at their highest level. And again, as I mentioned, it's all about performing at an optimum level so that the business performance can be at an optimal level as well. And then it's all about coaching. It's all about helping the employees or the staff to discover their strengths and align to the goals that matter to them, and then to create possibilities for future success. And it also encourages small action steps. So we don't have to become an overnight success, but gradually, over time, a person gets better. It's a redundancy aspect, if you will, and that the more you do a job, the better you should get. And when you learn to do that job, you find ways to make things better. You find different strategies, different tools, and different techniques that can help you to do more in less time, or take less time to actually go out and produce more product and deliver more services. And the particular workshop that I do provide, It helps leaders understand the difference between managing and coaching, and the benefits that coaching provides to the individual, the team, and the company. Because nowadays, it's all about teammates, and developing and strengthening teams. And the reason why it's so important is because the job market has just simply changed. We can remember when there were food shortages during the pandemic. Well, that's because some people who were doing the work, they went back to their country. They may have went back to South and Central America. And so with that happening, it impacted the building industry. It impacted the orchards out in Washington State and California, also in Florida. So when we start to look at it from that particular standpoint, it's very important to understand the difference between managing and coaching. And the other thing is, leaders want to learn how to identify and leverage coaching moments and practice a powerful coaching dialogue process. And what is meant by this is that in the past, management or leadership, they would provide an annual evaluation. And in this annual evaluation, they would talk about what you had accomplished or what you didn't accomplish over the course of the last 12 months. Well, nowadays, this is happening in a 2 to 3 week time frame, so you can provide that employee with a real-time evaluation of how they're doing, for example, on a project. Are they on schedule with the project? Is it within the budget? Do you have the proper amount of teammates that are helping with this project? And will it be delivered on time to the client? And so different things like that have to take place, but it's no longer will we see annual evaluations like we received in the military. You know, we receive an annual review, and you just take a look back at the projects that you performed on and the teams that you were on, whether it was acquisition, procuring some programs for the Air Force in my example, or if I was at Mobile Oil Company, how much product that we sell to a customer. That could have been at the chemical plant, olefins and aromatics. And so we looked at products like benzene and toluene. For those of you, you know what it is because each time you go to the gas pump, you're inhaling it. So that's actually what that is. And so you want to be able to understand and be able to evaluate how an employee is doing, and you want to coach them through it. You don't want to manage, but coaching is more effective because people tend to overmanage. And one of my sheroes, if you will, was the late Admiral Grace Hooper, and she is the one who is the forerunner of COBOL, a language for computers. And people even use it to this day. But she made a statement in my squadron officers school, and she stated that we manage people and resources, and we are to lead people. We've done too much management and not enough leading of the people. And I think that's the case nowadays where we're over managing people and not allowing people to take their gifts, their knowledge, their skills and abilities and apply it in the particular job, a role that they have. And so we want that to, of course, change. And it's going to change because people are demanding that, employees are demanding that. And then, as a part of coaching, when you use appreciative questioning, leaders will increase motivation for positive and lasting change in performance and behavior. And primarily, what that is telling us is that there's more connectivity between the employee, the managers, and the supervisors, and it should be that way. And then leaders in the workshop, they would also learn how to facilitate peer-to-peer coaching circles on their team and steer clear of common coaching mistakes. And this coaching program equips leaders with coaching tools that empower and encourage employees to develop new skills and behaviors. And of course, we know technology is going to play a more pivotal role, as we found out, even using the application of Zoom or StreamYard. And so a lot of people are doing Google Meetings. And so when we have technology like that, let's say if you're having a conference, oftentimes it's not being held at a local hotel, so you're going to save costs, but you're going to still get the same amount of knowledge for the content that's provided on a virtual platform. And that's just an example. And some of the learning objectives for this workshop, developing others through coaching, consists of understanding the difference between managing and coaching, and then learn the benefits of using coaching as a development tool. So as you are coaching one of your employees or your managers, you're also sharpening and honing your skills as a coach, and you're teaching and you're sharing how that employee can also embrace and take on some coaching skills in the peer-to-peer space. And then also understand the attributes of a successful coach and assess their strengths and opportunities. Then identify ways to build a strong coaching relationship with your employees. And I think this part is very important. And I do have a document where I did some research, and it states here that in terms of making coaching real, and it states everyone talks about coaching and employees to better performance and career growth. Few organizations do it, and fewer do it well. So the need for coaching often exceeds the capacity of leaders and managers to provide it. In other words, there are not enough managers and leaders to be able to coach the entire staff, throughout all the directorates and uh, not only at the headquarters, but also at the regional office and the local offices as well. So online coaching platforms are really picking up and proliferating, but organizations must determine the role coaching should play and take steps in making coaching effective one way or the other. And then when I talked about building the teams as well, because teams are parts of organization, most organizations are, in this survey, 72% believe developing teams is important, but they don't do it effectively. Only 29% actually do. So when we're looking at adding in coaching as a part of the function of a manager and or someone in that leadership role, and as I stated, everyone is a leader in their organization, I think it's very important for you to be able to provide this skill. Now, this definitely falls under leadership, and the bottom line is when you have a leader, an influential leader, he or she, uh, their goal is to develop other leaders within the organization. And the reason why this is so important, because the more people in the organization that have the leadership qualities and leadership skills, the better their business performance will be. And that's why it's very important to put them into the leadership training and leadership development workshops. And it's very important that that is done, because it just adds value to the individual and the organization. So what I'm going to do here is place, and you can see on this banner where you can reach out and learn more about my leadership development workshops at www.paulvannspeaks.com, or just go to hit me on an email at info@paulvannspeaks.com. And of course, you can get me by phone toll free at 800-341-6719. And what I talked about today was developing other leaders through coaching, and the importance that coaching and the role that coaching plays in working with not only managers, but also with employees. I'll see you on the next episode of Leadership is Influence podcast. And again, my name is Paul Lawrence Vann. It was my honor to be with you again today. I'll see you on the next episode, and continued excellence in all that you do. Have a great day, everyone, and take good care.